The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Welcome to the 15-Point Plan. Chad Himes here, joined by my young at heart co-host, Jaleens Snell. Hi, Jaleene. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good, but I thought I was just young, period. So.
We're going to go with young at heart. Young in comparison maybe to the guy speaking right now, yet there are others younger.
Fair.
So I'm just going to give you young at heart.
Well, there are a couple things that do keep me young at heart.
Excellent.
And just young.
Okay, there you go. Young is just a thing of years. Young at heart is what it all matters to. And we are here talking about your health, your happiness, your energy level, all things that will keep you young at heart through life. See how I did that? Work that all in there
for you. That was perfect.
Jillian, all right? That's why they keep me around, I guess. I work things like that in. Okay, we are on to the next section of the 15-Point Plan.
Yes.
We've been going deeper and deeper and deeper into each of the topics. We're working our way through 15 points. Jillian, which one are we about to talk about?
We're diving more into sleep. So this is like a subcategory of sleep because we know a lot of people, they either have insomnia or various troubles, either like getting to sleep or staying asleep. But today we're talking about how to get to sleep quickly. And truly, sleep is one of the best anti-aging functions of health. So remember that it will actually keep you young.
Okay. Sleep is key, folks. We have to fall asleep because if we don't, we're going to sooner or later. Our body will put us to sleep. It is when all of that recovery happens within our body, all the stress we've put on ourselves. And here's the thing, your body works better when it follows a routine. We talked about that in the overview of sleep. We're going to talk about that as we keep going through sleep. And that means even falling asleep. So one of the best things you can do is have a bedtime. And I know everybody gets to a certain age where they think that's just a ridiculous joke to have a bedtime still. It's probably one of the greatest things to have because if you can have a regular bedtime, you'll probably have a pretty consistent wake-up time. You'll put yourself into that circadian rhythm, which keeps your mind moving because it knows that bedtime is coming. And today, Jillian, we are going to talk, whether you call it catching Z's, hitting the hay, counting sheep, whatever it is, we're going to talk about ways that our audience members can get to sleep quickly. Because I got to tell you, it's probably one of the biggest pressure points around our house. I don't know about around your house, but I know when bedtime comes around our house, I'm the guy who puts his head down on the pillow and within 60 seconds, maybe 120 seconds on a bad night, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
Nita, on the other hand, she's not that way. Which way are you?
Gosh, it takes me maybe 15 minutes to fall asleep. And that's why I feel a little bit bad saying that. You're saying that, I'm saying that. We get to sleep quickly. But we've also sort of tightened up the activities that have led to the bedtime that we've created. I'm not going to give you the time that I actually prepare and go to bed because you might make fun of me. But it's a real thing because I truly believe I'm the CEO of my life, and making that decision and then sticking with it is part of being the CEO of my life.
That's a great point you're making, Jillian, and I got no problem putting it out there. 8 o'clock, I'm starting to get ready for bed. 8 o'clock, it's brushing teeth time, it's turning off everything time, it's getting into bed time. By 9 o'clock, I'm out. Bob Stewart, one of my co-hosts over on the Win, Make, Give podcast, actually made a comment the other day because I responded to a text at 8:30 and he was like, why are you still awake? I mean, he expects not to hear from me. So Jillian, we have gone out, we've done some research, we've looked for some stuff, we've used our own lives because we've been practicing as much as we can to help bring you guys stuff that truly works. And we've come up with a list of things to help you get to sleep quickly. Jillian, let's start with number one as our audience members rework a routine at bedtime. What do you got?
Well, and we're talking about reworking our routine. That means that we might already have a routine.
Yep.
It may not be the best one.
Yep.
And so I'd like to think of this as reviewing the routine that we have and then recalibrating it with some of these tips. So the first thing is to calm our minds. There's this kind of cute proverb that says, the worst things in life are to be in bed and sleep not, to want for one who comes not, to try to please and please not. And I thought that was pretty cute. And really, it starts with calming our mind. And we can do that by yoga, stretching, meditation. I think this is where the creative part of us, or the part that brings us joy, can come out, and we can decide what that thing is.
Okay.
The second thing would be, you suggested this, Chad,
Yep.
to heat up, to cool down.
Absolutely, right? So a warm bath before bed or a warm shower. I know so many people will take a cool shower before bed just to cool off. You're actually hurting your sleep by taking a cool shower. You see, what happens, Jilene, is our body temperature drops when we go to sleep. And we think, oh, if I can get my body temperature low, I'm almost there. But what happens is if we can get our body temperature high, the drop becomes quicker and faster, that it plummets. So one of the things we do before bed, hot tub time is just before bedtime as often as possible. Get out of it all warm. Your body's going to quickly go from warm to that cool, comfortable, falling asleep mind.
I think that's a really good, one of the best tips actually in this entire list that people may not already know.
Yeah.
The third thing would be for us to read,
Yep.
but not just on a Kindle or the iPad or anything with a blue light. We actually want to do like that, the old-fashioned paperback books or a magazine, and reading. I don't know about you, but it actually puts me to sleep. It depends on what I'm reading.
Sure,
But, right?
absolutely.
But it actually makes me fall asleep, and then I have to decide, hey, I'm not going to feel bad if I just fall asleep mid-chapter. That's just fine. It can actually aid in falling asleep, and that's the benefit of reading.
Yeah, and to continue on that, Jilene, you mentioned it already. We're talking a real book or a magazine or something like that in your hands, because you don't want the blue light that comes from reading it on your phone, reading it on your laptop, reading it on an e-reader. So one of those things to remember to do is to block the blue light at least 3 hours before you go to sleep, because blue light will slow the release of melatonin in our system, which is the sleep-inducing hormone. And if you have an iPhone, I don't know about you Android users, and I don't know why you're not all iPhone users by now. If you have an iPhone, you can actually automatically set it to go into nighttime mode, and it will block the blue, and you can tell it what time. So just set that 3 hours before bedtime. Your screen will look a little orangey
That's a great
to
function.
you.
Yeah.
But boom, just like that, my screen at 5 p.m. every night has gone into this mode, starts to take it away from me. So Jilene, the next thing on our list, number 5, definitely to you, because this is something that you talk about often.
Sure. Well, it's journaling, and I'd actually typically journal in the morning, so
Yep.
it's not part of my bedtime routine. But if you haven't done either, I think it's a really great thing to try, because you're essentially lightening the things that are on your mind that have maybe caused you stress throughout the day. And what happens when we have stress that has essentially had a compound effect all day long, that can be one of the biggest preventions of falling asleep quickly.
Yep.
Right? So we want to take that load off our brain, the things that are causing stress and increasing the cortisol response. And that's where your heart rate starts to rise, your blood pressure starts to rise, and it'll prevent you from sleeping.
Absolutely.
So get it off your mind, get it off your chest by journaling.
Do those 5 G's, and boy, all of a sudden you'll be thinking about what you're grateful for, not the challenges you had during the day. Here's one for those of you who don't have the blessings of falling asleep that fast like some of us do. If you're not sleeping, get up, right? If you're not falling asleep, just get up. Don't lie there going, I wish I could go to sleep. You're not doing yourself any good. You're actually compounding that, as you just mentioned it, right? So get up and go do something that's relaxing.
Don't get up and get on your cell phone, by the way.
No,
right?
Don't get up and get on the phone. Don't get up and go turn on TV. Don't get up and go do anything like cooking or something. Get up and go.
Yes, don't eat the contents of your refrigerator at 11 o'clock at night or 12.
Bad, exactly. Go get up and do that yoga. Go get up and go sit in your backyard if it's not freezing cold that late at night in your area or something, and just take in nature, whatever those things are. And when you start to feel a little sleepy again, jump back into bed and let yourself go to sleep. Keep going, Jilene.
Well, we don't want to consume caffeine within 4 hours of bedtime. And that's because, from what studies show, it actually remains in your bloodstream for about 12 hours.
Right.
And so just keep that in mind when you're drinking coffee in the morning or anything with a caffeine in it, that it could take 12 hours for that to be completely free in your bloodstream. So
okay, so switch to decaf.
Yeah, decaf, or drink milk, tea. There's actually something that I love to drink. It's a magnesium supplement. It's called Calm.
Okay.
And it's truly meant to calm the nervous system and help you sleep. I think for me, it's almost more of a placebo effect, and it tastes good. So I do it before bed,
Okay.
and it's a really good thing to try.
Okay. I'll talk about the late night workout, right? Avoiding that late night workout. I love getting my workout in, but you can be sure I do it first thing because a strenuous workout too late in the evening will actually increase your heart rate, which makes it harder to go to sleep. Some people think, oh, I'm going to exhaust myself and then I'll collapse so I'll be able to fall asleep. What do we usually do after a workout like that? We go take a shower. Make sure you're taking that warm shower late night, as we talked about earlier on tip number 2. And then Jaleene, finish up the last thing for our reworking, reevaluating, restructuring our routine for bedtime here.
Yeah, well, you've heard that the doctor says you could have 1 glass of red wine a night, and that's, like approved by doctors. However, what this says is that we don't want to drink alcohol within 3 hours of bedtime because while it's a sedative, it delays our REM sleep, which is our most precious sleep that helps restore our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but if I've had a couple glasses of wine, I can tell I'm waking up in the middle of the night.
Yep.
I find that I actually have insomnia when there's alcohol present,
Yep.
as much fun as it might have been. So you could just choose to drink a little bit earlier if you plan to drink that day, and that could help with the sleep.
Excellent. And as you said on a recent episode, Jaleene, we talked about how alcohol is more of a diuretic with the hydration. So what's it doing? It's forcing us up all night going to the bathroom.
Exactly.
Instead of staying asleep. Okay, so those are going to be some tips to help you get to sleep quicker. Let's also talk about the environment where you sleep, okay? So 1, make it comfortable. Get a nice mattress, sheets, pillows, things like that.
I like the bamboo products because they're hypoallergenic, they're antimicrobial, they're comfortable, and then because of the way that the fibers are, it's moisture wicking and heat wicking, so it actually keeps you cool while you sleep. So you can get all sorts of bedding, like your pillows, your comforters, your sheets, everything made out of bamboo.
Perfect. And pillows are an interesting thing, folks, under that. Make sure you get the right kind of pillow. Side sleepers should not be using the same kind of pillows as someone who's a back sleeper, who should be using a different kind of pillow as someone who's a front sleeper. So figure out which way you sleep and then go get the right pillow for it. Okay, here's my favorite point. Jaleene does not like this one for optimizing that sleep environment. Make it cool.
No, thank you.
Yes, cool. Okay, somewhere 60, 65 degrees Fahrenheit is going to be that ideal temperature for sleep. Bring the temperature down at night, not, oh, I want to make it warm. No, cool in that environment.
And to be fair, even though I like to be warm, this actually is shown in studies as like the top pillar of great sleep.
Absolutely. Okay, darkness is going to be key. So do you have LEDs? Like, do you have the clock that's lighting up the room? Do you have all those lights on your TV? Do you have all those electronics around your room that are lighting things up? How can you cover those? How can you block those? We used to have, like the cable box had lights on it. We used to throw a towel over it at night so that the little red lights that were lit up all over it all night long didn't show. Now I've just moved to wearing a sleep mask when I go to sleep at night. So
That's
I've got one
perfect.
of those like airplane sleep masks that I get to put on.
So I don't know if I want to visualize that now because it sounds funny to me, but it works.
Me and my little sleep
you know?
mask?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Here's what we want to think about. Imagine a dungeon.
Yes.
And a dungeon doesn't typically have technology and, computers and clocks and cell phones.
Not typically.
You want to sleep in your cold, dark dungeon at
Yes.
night. So
Sounds
create
good
that.
to me. Okay, how about eliminating noise? If you can't eliminate noises, can you have a white noise machine washing out those noises, or some sort of music that is calm, quiet, sort of the thing you would hear if you were going to get a massage or at the spa all day long?
Yeah, and Tim Ferriss recommends a noise machine called the Marpac Dome and swears by it and says it's a really great machine to try. So,
And I recommend the cheap one that I got on Amazon that
Okay.
showed up that we take with us even when we travel because it's small and has like 15 sounds. You'll find 1 or 2 that works for you.
right.
So there's tons of them when it comes to it. Absolutely. Okay. I already said getting rid of that clock, not only because of the light, but Jaleene, there's that stress of how many times in the middle of the night we look at the clock to see what time it is. And then we're like, oh no, I only have an hour left. Or, oh no,
Right.
oh no, get the clock out of your room. Get your cell phone away from the side of the bed so you're not tempted to keep tapping it and see what time it is.
We actually want to program our minds not to look at the clock when we wake up in the middle of the night, because when we see it, we actually timestamp our bodies with that time. And then we start to program ourselves to wake up at that time every night. So just avoid looking at the time in the middle of the night.
There you go. Good one. All right, Jilene, I'm not going to ask you what you wear to bed, because we're not going to get there for what you sleep in or don't sleep in or anything like that. But here's a tip for everybody out there, no matter what it is: wear socks. Put on socks when you go to bed, because socks will actually increase blood flow to your feet and heat loss through the skin, which will lower your temperature and make you sleepy. And if you don't like socks, put an extra blanket at the bottom of the bed that your feet are under so they get a little extra warm as it's bedtime.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a good tip, because I can't stand wearing socks to bed. So.
No, I can't wear socks either, yet we usually have an extra blanket that's just sitting at the end. Either we folded it down because Nita likes the bed to look pretty and it's not actually a using blanket, but we'll fold it down and leave it right under the feet to give us that little bit extra. Okay. And then this one, if you have pets, don't let them sleep with you. Don't let them sleep with you unless that is worse. Right? If we tried to keep our cat out of the bed now, no, she'd just be meowing at us so loud and so crazy, she'd keep us up all night. Yet I'll tell you, our cat is probably one of the reasons that we have sleep problems, because she decides she wants to get out of bed at 2 a.m. and she just walks all over you to get right out of it.
Nocturnal. You got to lock him out.
Yeah. So
Here's
you
what
got
you
to find
can't
out the
lock
right
out,
or the wrong.
though.
You
See,
can't lock them out.
You're going to pets. Your head's going to pets. Mine is going to kids.
Yes.
And you don't want kids in your bed.
No.
For many, many, many reasons.
Yes.
One would be sleep, of course. So if you need to use sleep as the excuse because your health is worth it, use that as the excuse why you train your kids to sleep in their own beds.
Interesting how I brought up pets and she turned that to kids.
But you can't lock kids out of your bedroom. I wanted to specify that. Or shouldn't.
I don't know. Maybe you can. All right. One more, Jilene, to optimize that sleep environment. What do you got?
Aromatherapy. So this would be, and actually they make little vials of it that you can sort of put on your temples.
Okay.
Or you could, there's so many
we had
different
one of
ways.
those
You can
machines
diffuse
that blew
it.
the mist up into the air in the room. I don't think it actually worked, but Nita thought it did, so that all mattered.
Again, some of it is just preparing your mindset for bed.
Yep.
So it might not biologically be changing anything, but it's mentally preparing you for that moment.
Okay. So let's give you 2 techniques. The first one is called the progressive muscle relaxation technique to help you go to sleep, known in the industry as the PMR. Sounds so official when they call it that, right? This is going to help you unwind by tensing each muscle group and then relaxing each muscle group.
Let's try that right now.
I'd be out that fast. It would work for me, okay? This is used to control stress, reduce pain, and helping you fall asleep. So here's what you do. You inhale and contract one muscle group, like your eyebrows and your forehead right up there or something like that. Okay? And people are like, wait, how do I can't do that, right? Too much Botox, it doesn't work, right? Do it for 5 or 10 seconds and then relax. Do your neck and your shoulders. Do your, okay? Wait 10 seconds, do another muscle group. That's it. Just work your way top to bottom. Now, that's one method. I'm going to give you my method for how I go to sleep, okay? I lay down and I will focus on deep breathing into my diaphragm. So folks, if your hand is on your chest and your hand is on your belly button, you want your belly button to be the part that's actually extending and retracting as you're taking in air. Most people, they'll actually find it's their chest that's going out and in and out and in. Your diaphragm down near your belly, okay? Deep breathing into my diaphragm to expand and contract as I release. Once I have my breathing under control, usually takes me about 10, 20 seconds, because I've been doing this a while now. Some of you might take a little bit longer. Then I start at the crown, top of my head, and I just start to relax the muscles consciously moving down my body. So I will relax the top of my head. Then I will relax my forehead. I will relax my eyebrows. I will relax my nose and my cheeks. I will relax my jaw. I will relax my chin. I'll relax my neck. I'll relax my shoulder.
It's so effective.
I don't make it to my feet.
By micro body part at a time. And they teach this in like yoga classes, right? And meditation to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's very effective.
And if you get distracted on the way down, go back to the top and start again. Don't be like, oh, where was I? And pick it up at the shoulder. No, go back, because you've tensed up those muscles again up top. Start again. Jilene, I don't know the last time I can remember actually getting near my feet. I usually fall asleep before I get to my shoulders. Okay.
And that's because you've practiced it over time on task over time.
There you go.
It wasn't a couple tries and you got frustrated and you gave up. Like, you probably stayed on it for a good while, right?
Yes. And that's my way of doing it that I've learned. Jilene, what about you for helping you get to sleep quickly?
Sure. Well, I don't struggle with it, but one of the things that I think is potentially very beneficial is sort of the state of self hypnosis. And I know a lot of people, that's a different kind of a word, and we don't always think of that word, especially when it comes to sleep preparation. But after we've followed like what Chad just mentioned with deep breathing and getting yourself into this more relaxed state, remember, we've had this compound effect over the day of our adrenaline, our stress. And so we're sort of retracting from all of that, and it takes some pretty serious steps. It really does. Like, we can't expect the world from our bodies. We really can't. We're actually human.
Oh my gosh.
We, believe it or not, I know some of us think we're superhuman. I realize that I'm not the older I get.
Young at heart, though.
Yes. And then after this state of relaxation is achieved, to practice this self-hypnosis by introducing ourselves to suggestions.
Okay.
So it could be saying some simple and clear statements, either out loud or mentally. Would probably be more in an internal statement, especially if you're in bed with someone else. You probably don't want to wake them up. Clear statements offering ourselves what we might do differently, or visualization of sorts. So I want to give you some examples.
Okay.
We can say, and this sounds a little airy-fairy, so you can sort of make your own. My feet are warm and I am calm. Right? Because we just talked about feet, and we talked about calming our bodies. So it's in alignment with that. And a lot of what keeps us up at night are things that are a threat to our safety. So an affirmation that would confirm, hey, I am safe and I'm happy right where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be that you just choose that statement and you repeat it over and over and over.
Okay. Or?
Visualize. So visualizations such as, like, I like to think of a waterfall, because waterfalls is like it's a pretty intense water sound, and it's very magical, right?
Yeah.
You might go to a beach more often than you actually go to a waterfall.
Okay.
So it's a magical moment. So if you've ever been to one, to actually take yourself back there, if it was a happy moment for you, and just be present in that moment, listening to the sounds and the smells and like how you felt in that moment. Or you could take yourself to that beach, right? The last time you felt utterly and completely relaxed and stress-free, just find that moment and visualize it. Sometimes it's so simple for me, like my favorite craft cocktail on a beach, and I just visualize that moment, or a favorite moment that I've had in the past,
Jilene,
watching a
it's
sunset.
a time on the boat and it's just rocking you to sleep.
Actually, that's very true, but not everyone has that luxury. So,
but most of us can imagine that on the waves, washing away.
right, watching whales float by.
Sure, whales can float by. Don't count sheep jumping over a fence. Count whales.
Think bigger, dream bigger.
Swimming past you and all that. Look, folks, we're going to be talking about sleep over the next few episodes as we keep going on this podcast. Normally, I wrap it up and I say that we hope that we're upping your energy level and taking you to the next level, yet not this episode. We hope that as this episode comes to a close, it's calming you, relaxing you.
That would not be Chad's voice.
Warming your feet and helping you fall asleep quicker.